Hi, this is Katie.albee. I'm a real estate agent here in Boulder, Colorado. Today, I wanted to talk to you sellers who are considering putting your home on the market and trying to decide whether or not you should spend the money on making updates and if it's worth it to stage your home. And in some cases, it's definitely financially worth it, and in others, not so much. To figure out whether or not it's worth it, you need to consider who is your potential buying market. And to figure that out, there are two main factors that are most going to help determine this. The first is the price point at which your home is most likely to sell. And the second is the condition of your home. To help you consider some of these factors, I want to give you an example. I'm going to take you through a listing of mine that just went under contract. We're going to take a look at the state of what this home is like and to help you consider who might be your potential buying pool, and then we're going to consider its price point. So, to help you wrap your mind around this thought process, I want to give you an example. The example is going to be of a listing of mine that just went under contract. This listing is a condo in Boulder at a pretty entry-level price point. Also, it's close to CU campus, and there are a little bit more than 50% of renters who live here. So, there are two types of buyers who are probably going to seriously consider this place. The first one is going to be a first-time home buyer, since it's at a very entry-level price point for them. And then the second is going to be an investor. And there may be two lines of thinking for these potential investors. The first is someone who looks at holding on to the condo for the long run. They're going to hold on to it and wait for appreciation. So they may leave the condo as is and just stick a renter in there, or they may make some very basic updates like perhaps some new flooring and new paint so they can charge a little bit higher in rent. And the second kind of investor is someone who's looking at this as a flip. And those kinds of people probably are coming in with their own vision, they're ready to rip everything out, and they have the confidence to undertake a bigger project like this. In just a minute, I'm going to take you on a tour through this condo. And as we walk through the condo, I want you to consider the potential mindset of our potential buyers. So for our first potential buyers, we have those first-time homeowners. Most of the time, first-time homeowners, they're really looking for a turnkey place. They want to move in, set out their furniture, and enjoy the perks of being a homeowner. However, sometimes you do have some of these homeowners who are ready to put in some of the work for these larger updates. It happens sometimes. And as for our people who are looking at this as an investment, as a rental, time is money for them. So if they're going to make any updates at all, it needs to be quick, it needs to be easy. No large gut jobs for them. But as for our flip people, they're looking with the intention of doing some heavier lifting. They can determine for themselves whether some bigger ticket items are worth it, like getting a kitchen, getting a bathroom, or putting in new windows or doors. So from their perspective, in terms of the work that might be needed for this place, we shouldn't worry so much about them. Now, a conversation and thought process that's important to share with you is one that I had with the sellers. When I first met with the sellers at their condo, I came prepared with a spreadsheet. In this spreadsheet, we looked at if they did no updates, what kind of a profit could they expect to get? We also looked at the financial case of if they made some basic updates like staging with furniture and doing new paint and flooring, then what could they sell the condo for and what kind of profit would they get from that? And then finally we ran through the numbers of if they were to do a bigger gut job, what would that financially look like? Now, when it came to making some of the more minor updates, it financially made sense. It wasn't a huge gain, but it might have made a difference. However, from their perspective, it may have been more worth it to put the condo on sooner than later, as this rental season is just gearing up because school's about to start. When it came to looking at the numbers for the bigger gut job, it really didn't make sense. They weren't going to get their return on investment. Instead, it would be more ideal to have someone who comes in with expertise and knowledge on this and can do the work themselves for cheap. After running through the numbers with the sellers and talking about how quickly they would like the place sold, they realized financially it just didn't make any sense to do the updates. Even though personally they preferred to have made some updates, it wasn't what made the most financial sense. Okay, now let's go take a look at this condo. Okay, it's tour time. We are standing in the entryway of this 2-bed, 2-bath condo in Boulder. And this condo is over 1,100 square feet and has a great layout. As soon as we come in, there's a great sized laundry room and lots of storage. When we turn to the left here, we've got a kitchen that's in pretty good shape. We have decent cabinets and we have a granite countertop. Now let's head into the living room. Some funky paint colors, okay. You can start to see that the carpet is a little bit of an issue. It's gonna probably need to be replaced. We've got different sections in here and tape covering over some of the holes. But if you were coming in here to remodel, you might imagine putting in new flooring, maybe some new paint, perhaps whitewashing, or quickly retiling that fireplace. As we look at some of the windows and doors, you can already see there are 2 doors here, which is interesting. At some point somebody did that, and they're 2 single pane doors. We have the same issue happening with some of the windows, but good size dining room, and it's a really nice large layout in the living room. And what's great is we have the bedrooms down a hallway, so they're separated from the living room, which is really nice. And we have plenty of storage. We've got 2 storage closets in the hallway. To our left, we'll have the first bedroom, and over to our right, we have the first bathroom. The colors are a little funky and outdated, but perfectly livable right away. And in this master bedroom, it's a great size. A real bonus is this enormous master closet. It's almost a 3rd bedroom. But the biggest thing that we have to consider here in terms of who is going to be interested in this place and what the remodel costs might be is this bathroom. Again, it's outdated, but we have some bigger issues going on with the tile here. Now, we haven't had an inspector in yet, but there might even be some mold behind here, which is a big risk when you get under contract and have inspection items come up. You can see that this tile is falling out. In fact, there probably is even some water behind there. It's really not something that you can easily stick some tile glue over. So as we're looking at this house, it's a great layout. It may appeal to a lot of people, but the biggest thing is going to be this bathroom. We need to consider what costs are going to be involved and who's going to be ready to take on those costs. Okay, so we're back, and we've had a chance to look at this condo, which is serving as a great example to help you, the seller, get into the mindset of whether or not it's worth it to make updates. Let's consider the individuals, again, that would be looking at this property now that you can be in their headspace since you also have seen this condo. The first was the first-time homeowners. Most of these people wanted a turnkey place. And in fact, that was the exact feedback I got from other agents who showed the place, and when I had the chance to speak with some of these first-time home buyers who came to my open house. I did have one couple who was excited about making the place their own, but ultimately way too overwhelmed about the amount of work involved. As for our second set of people, the people who are looking at this as a rental, it was just too much work. They needed to get people in there within the next 30 days in order for it to financially make sense. And when it came to that shower and that water issue, they knew that they would have to gut it or do some kind of bigger work, and the timing of it just didn't shake out for them. And as for our third set of people, those who were looking at it as a flip, it did make sense to them. I got great feedback from these people, and in fact, we ended up going under contract with someone who was going to take this on as a flip. And when we were looking through the offers that we got, what was really important to the seller was some of the terms that came from some of these flips. These people, they weren't concerned about mold. They weren't considered about other work that would be just behind the scenes. So they wrote out the inspection objection because they knew that this was a great opportunity for them. Okay, so we've done 2 things here. First, we looked at things from the seller's perspective of whether or not it would make financial sense for them to make no updates, some updates, or a lot of updates. We looked at what the market would bear at each of those different scenarios, and financially it worked out to make no updates. So we know we're making no updates, and because of that, we then understood what the list price would be. The second thing we did is we got into the headspace of which kind of buyers would be interested in this place if it had no updates. We put our theory and logic together here and determined that most likely a flipper was going to be most interested in this place. And our theory proved to be true. We ended up going under contract with the flipper, and both the buyer and the seller are really happy. Okay, dear seller, you've made it so far to this point in the video. Now it's time to take this experience and insight that you've gained and put it into use for yourself. The first thing you want to do now is to determine how much would it cost to make certain updates to your home. And then you want to get onto Zillow or talk with an experienced agent like myself to determine how much might your home sell for at those particular levels of condition, and determine whether or not that's going to be financially worth it for you. Are you going to get a payout if you make that initial investment? And then once you know that, you'll know your price point, and you can determine who's going to be interested in your home at that price point and at that certain level of condition. At that point, it might really be helpful to talk to a real estate agent who understands your market in depth, and they can tell you, is that potential buyer pool going to be strong enough for you at that particular condition and price point? I hope this video is helpful. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description box below. Happy selling!